All right, we're going to start the meeting now. In accordance with Section by resolution adopted January 6, 2024. The notice has also been continuously posted on the borough website. May I have a roll call, please?
Yes, Council President, Council President Morgan.
Here.
Councilwoman Phillips. Here. Councilman Watson.
Here.
Councilwoman Russo. Here. Councilman Karan.
Here.
Councilwoman Harden. Here. Thank you.
And rise for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. All right, at this point, I'm going to open up the floor to the public comment on agenda items only. So if there's anything you'd like to speak on one of the items that are on the agenda listed tonight, please come up, state your name and address, and any comment.
Hey, oh yeah, I knew you were here. I came for you. Yes, yes. Hi, I'm Hayden Woodworth. I live at 16 Garden Street, and I wanted to discuss the traffic pattern on that little section of Garden in front of right by the school. We'd like that to be a one-way street, because with so much traffic because of the school, a lot of the cars are pulling into our driveway, making quick K-turns, and often when we're out there, and we have 4 kids, and they're running around in the driveway, and somebody whips in and whips out, and often they're distracted too. They're talking to their friends. It's high school students. So I just wanted to put that in front of you guys to consider that as a possibility. That's it.
So, Hayden, thanks for coming up. I know that's what you and I emailed each other about this weekend, right?
Correct.
And then we missed each other on calls. And I think we were going to ask. Is this over there?
Yeah.
Trying to gain sympathy. So I don't know, Councilwoman, I know that, I think that this was a project you were familiar with.
Yes.
So, Mr. Woodward is a long time friend from many moons ago. I'm surprised to see him, it's great to see him here tonight. He's a great gentleman. And, anything we can do to help him, like with any resident, I'd love to do it, but I don't know if you had any discussions with the chief about that possibility, or with Mr. Bach about that, our engineer about that possibility, so I'll turn it over to you, Lee.
Yeah, should we save that for caucus work session, or that?
I think since it's been raised, I mean, we can take it just to accommodate Mr. Woodward.
Yeah, Mr. Woodward had, the family had shared a petition that had been signed by several members on the street. Basically, this started, we were talking about the upcoming missing sidewalk projects, we were talking about the traffic flow on the street, and how unsafe it felt for their family and the other neighbors on the street. We collected, there were 5 or 6 of the neighbors. They came out and voiced their opinion. I think one of the pieces of feedback that I received from, I forgot if there was somebody from Councilor Mayor, but just wanting to get assurance that most of the people on the block were agreeing to this.
Sure.
And so that's where I
Which is
suggested.
routine, what we do, we want to make sure it's just not you being the only one here and your neighbors are dead set against it. We like to get a neighborhood consensus, and we work around those kinds of things when the whole neighborhood is coming towards us, so that's why the petition helps.
I don't know where you're at. Yes, that, sure that, as we see fit, and then, I did speak with the chief, he was in agreement, I've lived in that area for a long time and observed the traffic patterns in the area, and I would agree that there's a lot of it would just smooth out traffic flow if that section of road was made consistent with the rest of the, section similar to a garden and high between White Horse Pike and Crest, and that they're one-way streets to just flow that operation, so you don't really have the option to pay for and whatnot, so.
Chief, did you have any objections to
I did not.
the proposal going along way?
No.
Steve, were you familiar with it?
Yes, no objection.
No objection?
And this is from First to Crest, in the direction of First to Crest.
First Crest, yes.
No
Maybe
objection.
what we would do in order to make that wall, we have to prepare an ordinance, which we would do, probably 2 readings, right, Mayor? And, get through those 2 readings and make it happen. Change the
Right.
signage. I'm only doing it for Mrs. Brewer,
Understood.
but I think you're gonna get what you're looking for.
Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Very positive.
Appreciate that. When are you done tonight?
We're in public comment for agenda items only there.
Any other public comment on agenda items?
How you doing? Sure. Anton Donchev, 237 First Ave, neighbor of Hayden. So first off, kind of an introduction to the town. I've only been here about a year and a half, so figured to make my presence known. But again, as a supportive neighbor, we do actually agree that having the one-way street in that section would actually be beneficial. We've seen, especially since we're on that corner, particular heavy traffic times like school dismissal and extracurricular activities specifically, especially when it's dark. Not having people make so many K turns and have that traffic would probably be a safer situation. And also flowing, like you said, from First to Crest, making sure that it goes away from the actual school to stay consistent with the pattern of garden would actually be pretty beneficial for us. So, all right. Sure. Of course.
Any other public comment on agenda items? Not seeing any other public comment on the agenda items, we'll close the public comment portion. We'll move into the caucus work session. The first item is Tanner Brewing. Steve?
In the absence of Mr. Gentili, if I may.
He is here in the back.
All right. Why don't you come up and we'll do it together. So we provided, as requested, all the application materials that was received for the Tanner Brewing Planning Board application. That was circulated around by Kelly Sanasuso, so everybody can get a general feel. In essence, what it is keeping the sidewalk clear, allowing for picnic tables less than 30 inches to be in the what is considered the curb strip, which is the area between the curb line and the sidewalk. It's already improved with artificial grass, allowing those tables to be installed as represented on the application materials. And then also with the permission of the construction code official, allowing what is considered stanchions or frames to be installed in the area of those tables, again, with the approval of the construction code official on the anchoring, which were specific conditions of the planning board resolution, and also allowing lights also with the construction code official. There were several other conditions which were listed in the review, mainly having to do with a trash receptacle. In our opinion, as these improvements come and are available, and we have received the construction code approvals, then they can be installed. But I have no objection to, unless the council has any objection, no objection if the council would allow these tables in the public right of way with the stanchions, subject to the construction code official and all the other conditions that are outlined in the review. I understand Mr. Gentili is going to bring things online as they're approved. So the tables do not need any approvals. They've already been demonstrated that they're less than the 30 inches. They can install the tables whenever the mayor and council approves the use of the public right away. And then as he gets approvals from the construction code office for the stanchion and the lights, then they can come online. So that's the long and short of it. Any questions for me?
Just real quick, Steve.
Please.
And my understanding is that looking at your letter of March 19th, it indicates that the applicant, Mr. Gentili, should enter into an agreement, this was a recommendation coming out of the land use board, with the mayor and council to permit proposed improvements in the borough right away. That's something you're recommending, so if there's no objection from council, they could authorize something like that tonight?
Yes, I have no objection
By
to,
resolution, and then I could draft an agreement in an acceptable form. Any approval would be subject to preparation and approval of the agreement by the solicitor, and send it to Mr. Gentili or his counsel, that he so chooses, for review and comment, and then sign off on it. We're good to go, right?
exactly, I have no objection to that
So that's what
being taking place.
You can do that if you would like tonight. If there's no
Yeah,
objection.
resolution.
Then I can prepare the agreement once it's authorized and just make it subject to legal review.
Council members, any thoughts, questions for Steve or for Mr. Gentili?
No, I appreciate the photos that you provided, and the description of everything, I support it. Appreciate the use of town, it's a great place. Subject to legal review and also the application provisions, considering it's right away for the town, I would support council representatives.
Is there a thought to, in the future, just to give better guidance so that there doesn't have to be so much of a process? Do we look at creating ordinance that allows clear definition of use of right of way?
Yeah, and I think this agreement would probably serve as the basis for that, because the thing that I'd be most concerned about is pedestrian traffic being able to access the right of way. And it seems as though adequate provisions were made for that to happen, so that's positive.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think just, we look at drafting something, we model it and following it, and then that'll kind of,
I can work with Steve.
is there any future use from restaurants or businesses on Station Ave or anything that comes out?
The one thing that's different though, Mayor, is every location with the right of way, depending upon where it's located and the traffic on a particular street, there may be certain conditions that you want to impose. So I get the uniform standards thing, but there's also, you're talking about different roads, different traffic patterns, different locations. While it might fit here on Atlantic, like it might not fit on, say, Station, or the White House Pike, for example, where vehicles are doing 45 miles an hour. down the road.
If I could add, this is, they're all specific instances. This really was generated mainly by the original land use approval, which was the actual use for the brewery. So as part of that original approval, the land use board said, and there was conversation and testimony regarding outdoor seating. So the original approval had a specific provision. If you are going to do outdoor seating, Mr. Gentili, you would have to come back to the board for approval of that. That's what really sparked this process. So that's really unique to a land use board application for the use. I do not believe this type of process would typically occur on how we're sort of experiencing what's going on in the downtown and other commercial areas. So I don't know if you could do a one size fits all rule book on this. Yeah, and I think you would actually then would have a rule book that would be maybe too onerous on, we don't need an extra layer. Yeah, but that's why this started, because it was a land use board application for a use, and we had to follow through the process because it was conditions of the land use board approvals.
I was just gonna say, we've seen a lot of this in the city of Philadelphia, they've gone through their own to first readings, sometimes parents and whatnot, they try to establish a standard. And it's really hard, I mean, to what you're saying.
It's almost impossible. So
I mean, you could have parking next to the site, you could have driving next to the site, and your parents are in different spaces. So, I I would agree that it's somewhat difficult.
And what's occurring now is, as long as it's not a nuisance, it's not being, in our, there's no real rule book, and so it's not a nuisance, it's not a problem. It works, and maybe we don't break it. All right? Thank you. Thank you so much.
Next, we have primary election.
So I just wanted to update Mayor and Council, a couple of meetings back, I had mentioned that we were proposing trying to come out of Glenview School District 6 and 7 for this year's elections. It's something that we've been thinking about and trying to do over the last couple of years. I did in fact meet with the Board of Elections when they contacted me, or got back to me regarding, taking a look at the site. It was to get to the community center. And to move from the community center, which is free, into the garden. They wanted to see all of the locations, and apparently they're doing that throughout the county. They're going to all of the locations just to follow up, make sure everything is accessible and appropriate. I did just hear back at an elections class that I attended that the Board of Elections is not approving this at this time, and it's mainly because they're looking either next year or probably next year to consolidate all of the districts within the town to one location. So it's something that they're talking about doing countywide, and basically, we set up more on it, but it is something that they're proposing throughout the county. Very early stages of it. If we were to think of a location, I think possibly the community center might work for that. It would be a completely different model about how it would work, but it would be there, or we have to consider a location, maybe in one of the multi-purpose rooms in some schools. But, I guess, plus that bridge is come to it, it's going to report back to council that it will in fact remain in Glenview School. Communicate with Glenview School, because they're kind of hoping it's going to come out. And let them know that the 2025 elections will be held there for District 6 and 7, and, and I'll also contact the administration as well. Okay.
Next, we have elected officials risk management seminar training.
So this is something that all of the elected officials are required to log into the NEL website and complete the training. It is approximately 45 minutes. And I think there might be a quiz at the end, I'm not sure. What I have requested this year for risk manager and one of the returns is that the training be done collectively, and we possibly try to do that at a part of the council meeting, so that it's a one-shot deal and everybody is able to get the training at one time, and you just sign like a sign-in sheet that everybody has attended. Yes.
So another client had asked me about this today, so I spoke to Joe Nardi at the gym. And I asked him whether, I know a lot of, it's been online a lot the last couple of years, but they wanted to do it together in one fell swoop and knock it out in one night. Whether I still be qualified to administer that, and he said I would be. So rather than have everybody set up at a workstation or looking at it on TV, I could probably knock it out in about 30 minutes, because to shock everybody, you're gonna stay an hour, but I'm telling you, I can do it in 30 minutes. And then we take he said, take the, I feel the you take the sign-in sheet, everybody can sign in, you can send it in that everybody attended. I have a packet that I prepared, which is a PowerPoint presentation. I'm doing 2 of them tomorrow, actually,
Okay.
for clients. So if you want to schedule that, let me know what meeting, and we can either start maybe a half an hour early, or we could do it after the meeting, whatever everyone's schedule fits, then I can do it at the next meeting, we knock it out.
Okay, so the, next thing is.
The videos are out of the morning, I'm not.
That's,
That's very,
but
that-
It's impressive.
this way, we get everybody to take it at the same time. We'll get a credit of $250 per member off of our assessment.
Yes.
And so that's the goal, we're trying to make it as easy for everyone as
If
possible.
everybody's here, it would be great. I mean, when everyone's here to get the most bang for our buck,
Right.
250 off our.
It has to be done by May 31st, so our meetings in April are the 2nd and 16th, and May 7th, and then or the 21st. So we can talk about it all separately, and see what's most convenient, but it was essentially mean like
It was only
6:30
good before it.
or maybe coming in at 6:15, but if you can get it done in half an hour, we could, have a minutes, 16 part of next week. So I'll circulate something, we'll try to come up with a date that works for everyone. While I'm talking about this, I wanted to mention, just comes to mind, Councilwoman Karen mentioned to me about the cybersecurity training. She thought it was a spam email. Most of you, probably all of you, have gotten something from B2 Security, which could look like spam, but what it actually is cybersecurity training, which we are all obligated to take. This is something else that the level is requiring, and so, they give us sort of a rating as to how many, people in the borough, and this is all of us, everybody with the borough email address, all elected officials to take the training to obviously be in compliance with cybersecurity and be up to date on the latest efforts by those who want to.
I think that helps your deductible too.
It does. And so you should have an email, and what I would suggest is that you just search YouTube,
They know what to use.
cybersecurity training.
Awesome.
You'll log in, Councilman Phillips, and taken it in the past. Unfortunately, it is an annual thing. It is a bit lengthy. I wish I could tell you it's 45 minutes, it's not. It's over an hour. And then there's a safe test afterwards. So, again, it's just one of those things we, okay? And that's it. Thank you.
Next, we have Guard Street between First Ave and Crest Ave, which we already covered. Is there anything else, council, on that topic?
Hey, Mayor, I don't know whether you wanted to introduce my title tonight, since it's just a fairly simple ordinance, and we could steal them up and get it moved up and implemented
Anyone see it?
quicker than May, we could get it and implement it in April instead.
Anyone have one there?
I think as long as our professionals support it, I think we'll agree.
Just to clarify, this is going to be one way from First Ave heading towards Crest.
Correct.
So that would be
Right, ordinance.
1545, 2024, 1555.
All right. Next, we'll move into the lead caucus session, and we'll commence the regular meeting. Look for a motion to approve the minutes of the March 5th, 2024 work session meeting. May I have a motion, please? Motion. Motion by Councilman Kagan, and a second? Second by Councilman Russo. All those in favor? Any opposed or abstained? Next, we'll look for the approval of the executive session minutes of the March 5th, 2024 work session meeting. May I have a motion for the approval of the executive session minutes, please? Motion by Councilwoman Phillips, and a second. Second by Councilwoman Karen. All those in favor? Any opposed? Abstained? Thank you. Next, we'll have a motion for the approval of the minutes of the March 11th, 2024 special meeting. May I have a motion for the approval of the minutes from the March 11th, 2024 special meeting, please? Motion by Councilman Hagan, and a second. Seconded by Councilman Addison. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstained? All right, thank you. Next, we'll move with council member reports. Starting down the end, Councilman Aaron. Councilman Russo.
Thanks, Mayor. Two quick things. One thing was the Kings Highway project, which will be a public meeting this Friday, March 22nd at 9 a.m. at the Francis J. Ward Recreation and Community Center in Audubon, New Jersey. That project extends essentially through for limits along Kings Highway. I don't know if there's anything else to say there, but just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that, and I think it's posted on the website as well. The other thing is the construction on station in the Atlantis is going to be starting soon. But coming back to repave, basically there's a time when the asphalt company slows down, they're pumping back up, they ask for a good time to pave, and suggest it's spring break. Nothing will guarantee rain when it's scheduling their paving or any street. So apologize for rain in advance, but excited for that project to be completed, we've done this paving. Thanks.
Yeah.
Questions for Councilman Russo? If not, okay, on Shade Tree, we have the trees over. We're gonna do this, notice on door handles, and we're gonna hit all the houses, that we had targeted on Sycamore Street. Let the trees come and go door to door, and let them know that's, if there's any objections, we'll know that. And then we'll, put the trees and get a plan with probably next 2 weeks. We received a certification confirmation from Rachel and Nada and the Department of Environmental Protection and Forestry Division that we have the certification for Shade Tree Commission. Thanks, most of you. Thank you. We're receiving 300 tubulings for the April 28th giveaway at the farm market for 10 to 1. If anybody wants to have a giveaway, great. If you want tubulings, Heights Grows, they had a meeting to reorganize for the year 2 weeks ago, I think there, and they're asking for the 200 donation for the flower pots that you on the list for. If you want to donate it in, please do that. And if you're not, let them know so they can get another sponsor. And on the Environmental Commission side, we just heard from the state DEP, the HDSRF. Has not yet been approved on all the categories. There's 3 questions that had additional questions on. So we're switching to the new HDSRF company TNF, so we'll have to get the information reviewed and apply since that's all there. On Sustainable Hat Heights, David Collins working on the submission for our approval for deadline. I think he's got us information. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Any questions? Council President Morgan?
Thank you, Mayor. Just briefly, our shared service agreement with Audubon for the operation for DPW expiring in a year. We had a meeting today with representatives of Audubon. This is hard things on to see if we continue it. He was very fruitful about the informative meeting, and they're asking for attendance at the meeting. Still have a long way to go to see if there's the fact we go down, but it's promising. Hopefully,
Thank you, Council President. Questions for Council President? Councilwoman Phillips.
Thank you, Mayor. I have updates on the public safety side. I have the report from Fire Chief Hales with respect to incidents for the month of February. There were 20 calls in Hammond Heights, 18 calls in Barrington, 7 calls to mutual aid, 2 calls to the highway for a total of 47 calls, averaging very good numbers of 5 firefighters per call and 27 career staff calls. I also have the numbers from Chief Schneider with respect to the February report from the police department. There were 6,482 miles driven on patrol, 1,013 calls for service, 20 arrests and charges, 14 active, and 146 motor vehicle summonses issued. It looks like there's a new initiative of officer baseball cards coming soon.
You'll be coming out soon. So,
That's awesome. Will that include our new canine officer?
It will, you're blowing up the spot right now. I didn't want to
Order
mention,
double. Order double.
we're waiting for the dog to get out of the academy.
Awesome. Well, that's okay.
I'm just- It's doing very well.
That's great. Well, I think that the canine might be the most popular card sheet, but we'll see.
No doubt.
Other than that, the mayor and I attended Challenge Day at Adams High School that took place on March 4th. And that was an initiative by the school. They hired an outside entity, selected particular students from grades 9 through 11. And it was a full day event that took place in the gym. A lot of community volunteers. And the purpose of it was to increase self-esteem, help shift dangerous peer pressure to positive peer support, reduce teasing, aggression, forms of violence, and really just bring the kids together to understand that they're all going through tough times and that they all have the support of each other and should be kind to each other every day. So I thought it was an awesome program. Actually, our officer, Joseph, was there as a volunteer. He
Not just there.
he won the rock, paper, scissors tournament out of everybody that was there. It was very impressive. Chief, did you give him a proclamation?
I did.
Okay, perfect.
In front of everybody.
We were cheering for him. He did a great job, and I think he took down freshmen
Yeah.
at the end in the championship. Yeah, so kudos to him, and kudos to the district for an awesome program. I think that was the first time they've ever done it, and I think it was really successful, and hopefully we'll do this pretty good.
Thank you, Councilwoman Phillips. Any questions for Councilwoman Phillips? Councilman Dave?
No big news is that the municipal alliance met last night, and the planning including firecracker, okay, what is begun.
Any questions for Councilman Dave? Mayor's report. Since our last meeting, I met with the fifth district leadership, spoke with them briefly about some of the initiatives we're working here in town, focused on obviously infrastructure, improvements, both streets and sewers, brownfields remediation with Devon Ave, redevelopment, and obviously shared services and public safety being on four real big initiatives. The fifth district was, they aired concerns, and they're going to look for avenues that they can continue to support us, which every year they do a great job doing that. We have an upcoming meeting with the Congressman's office as well. We'll again push some of these topics forward to them, and hope again that we can see some federal assistance in different ways. Beyond that, the Challenge Day was a huge success. I do want to just again echo Councilman Phillips's comments and applaud both the superintendent, Carla Bittner, the principal Warren Benenza, but especially Corey Mueller and the rest of the guidance department staff who basically sought out this agency. We were able to lobby them. They did lobbying for quite some time. We finally received the award for Challenge Day to come in and host it, and it was an incredible experience I think to be a part of. And I have to applaud all of the volunteers. That's what they stressed was that they have to turn kids away a lot of times because there aren't enough adult volunteers. So there are a number of leadership from both Birchville, Lawnside, Barrington, Haddon Heights, parents, police officers, teachers. So it's really, really special. I just can't applaud district on board for work on that project. I think it's really important, especially in a town like Haddon Heights here, where we have experienced some tragedy with this. With that, I have nothing else. We'll move into unfinished business. See none. Move on to new business. First, we have introduction of ordinance 2024-1544, and ordinance rescinding ordinance 2024-1541, amending chapter 125-2 of the Code of Borough of Haddon Heights entitled Animal License Fee Exemptions. Public hearing and final adoption of ordinance 2024-1544 is scheduled for Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024, at approximately 7 p.m. in the municipal building located here at 625 Station Ave, Haddon Heights, New Jersey. May I have a motion to introduce ordinance 2024-1544?
They're just adding some additional state fees to the events.
Right.
That's what we did previously.
Right, we have slight error on that one.
Yes.
So, motion by Council President Morgan, may I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Dagan. And roll call vote?
Vice Mayor, Council President Morgan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Phillips,
Yes.
Councilman Robinson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Russo,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dunn,
Yes.
Councilwoman Aaron.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Again, public hearing and final adoption will be Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024, approximately 7 p.m. in this building. Next, we're going to introduce, which is not on the agenda, but we're going to do it by title only, ordinance authorizing traffic flow one way only between First Avenue and Crest Avenue in a northerly direction on Garden Street. On Garden Street. That'll be ordinance 2024-1545. This ordinance, public hearing and final adoption, of ordinance 2024-1545 is scheduled also for Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024, at approximately 7 p.m. in the municipal building located at 625 Station Avenue, New Jersey. May I have a motion to introduce ordinance 2024-1545, please? Motion by Councilwoman Russo, may I have a second?
Phillips, second.
Second by Councilwoman Phillips, and roll call vote, please.
Council President Morgan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Phillips,
Yes.
Councilman Robinson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Russo,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dunn,
Yes.
Councilwoman Aaron.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Again, public hearing for adoption, we'll get our next meeting Tuesday, April 2nd at 7 p.m. Next, we have resolution 2024-87, a resolution authorizing payment bills and claims for the first half of February. Resolution 2024-88, a resolution amending resolution 2024-31, a resolution concerning appointments. Resolution 2024-89, resolution approving change order number 1 for the fiscal year 2021, fiscal year 2022 road program, 11th Ave, Maple, Bradshaw, and First Avenues. Resolution 2024-90, resolution of the Borough of Manhattan for City, resolution 2024-77, and authorizing the borough engineer to design, inspect, and publicly bid for the construction of Maple Avenue from Devon Avenue to Glenview Avenue project. And resolution 2024-91, resolution authorizing transfers of appropriation reserves. And resolution 2024-92, a resolution authorizing an agreement between Tanner Road and the Borough of Manhattan Heights, implement regulated right-of-way usage on Atlantic Ave. That's that's the resolution. May I have a motion, please, for those resolutions? So moved. Motion by Councilman Dagan, may I have a second? Second by Councilman Odison, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Vice Mayor, Council President Morgan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Phillips,
Yes.
Councilman Robinson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Russo,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dunn,
Yes.
Councilwoman Aaron.
Thank you. I'll now open it up for public comment. That's public comment on anything at all. So you just step up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Kelly Shears, SCHIERS. I'm at 209 8th Avenue. I know what you might be able to share is limited, but there's a number of town residents here looking for an update to the 802 Station Ave proposal regarding a sober living residence.
So, you and I were in contact last week, via email, and I disclosed to you basically where everything stood from what we knew. Obviously, we've been consulting with Helen, our attorney, along with Elena Hyatt from Barbara McKay, who's our planning board and zoning board attorney, regarding how the borough can proceed and in regards to the original applications that came before the planning board that were withdrawn, and then the Snell property, which was contingent at the time on a CO being issued for the fact that it was a multi-use. There's a lot of moving parts on that, and so let me turn it over to Howard to kind of give you the gist of it. Again, because it's like litigation, I'll explain it all.
Sure, so, and I think you sent me a copy of that. acknowledging that with the threat of litigation, there's some things that we may not be able to say, so I appreciate that acknowledgement. What I can say is that it's a joint effort between the land use board attorney and myself. The land use board attorney looking into certain legal issues that relate to any obligation to appear before that board. Search is ongoing, and she's not issued any opinion to the governing body or the planning board. From my perspective, it's my understanding that it was ultimately the intent to be a sober living facility. And my job, which I'm in the middle of looking at and printing out probably 150 pages of state regulations on sober living facilities.
It's a 101-page document.
It was 100 people, so it just seemed like a lot.
It's a lot.
So I'm in the process of reviewing that and looking at what, if any, role the governing body has. Let's say we have what we're able to do, not able. These facilities are subject to the requirements of the Federal Fair Housing Act, like similar to group homes. They are heavily regulated by state issues permits for these types of facilities, not the municipality. So it's pretty much state controlled, much like group homes are state controlled, which give us very little license to do much from a local government perspective. That being said, if there were difficulties, avenues of relief from the overseeing agency through the state. It's my understanding that the regulations for these facilities are rather draconian in nature, and that they are heavily regulated, zero tolerance. I'm just looking at it now, I've not issued an opinion yet, I'm researching it and expect to fairly soon to the governing body.
If I may,
Role they have.
I think when you get into that 101 document, you'll see that actually the rules and regulations are fairly liberal for Class F housing.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Sure. When you get into the document, I think you'll see that there's actually very little regulation surrounding Class F residencies.
So, looking at that issue, and we'll be advising the governing body at the appropriate time.
And do you have an understanding of where the application process is at the state and where the purchase of the property process stands at this time? Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Mark Black, 204 8th Avenue. I border the property that was just talked about. I guess I would just like some clarification on whether the process for applying for a Class F license is separate from zoning for that property, and whether all of that would, as far as you understand, take place at the level of the state, or whether the borough has a role in some part of that.
That's the question.
It sounds like.
And you're right, the powerhouse right there, that. Did you go to law school, sir?
No, I did not.
Because you always do like an introduction, and then you state the question, that's the question.
I guess I missed my calling, but
But you nail on the head, sir, that's exactly the issue that is being looked at by the planning board, land use board attorney.
and when you finish your looking into this and come to a conclusion, is that going to be made public, or is that going to be held within?
Well, you'll know by the advice I give the governing body, I would probably make a statement by their action or their inaction, depending upon where that comes out. So yeah, ultimately.
You gotta clarify that. That was-
Yeah.
You spoke around.
So as an example,
If everybody decides they want me to release that,
Oh,
yes, I will.
okay,
And my point that I was making is by the actions that they take, you'll understand what my opinion says. Maybe I said it a little clearer that time.
So you say, right, if there's limited action by the board, by the council, or by the planning board, it's probably because there are no actions that we take, or vice versa. We're actions by the board. So our actions or inactions will be a summary of whatever.
Any opinion issued by a solicitor to this council, subject to attorney-client privilege. We, as the council, will decide what we feel from that opinion is appropriate for disclosure to the public. Once we have, I'm not even sure at this point in time if any action with regard to this property transaction. Until I see the opinions from both solicitors. So, but we are all aware of how important and sensitive this issue is for the whole town, but in particular the surrounding area of that property. And I specifically want to make sure that the public is kept made aware of what's going on and what our response is and why we're doing it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Any other public comment?
Bob Famular, Famular, 21 8th Avenue. Close who the law firm that iHawks hired, because did they get rid of their other firm?
Did you
The-
tell her Litchfield?
I don't know. I'm asking who the law firm that they're using now,
Yeah, the purchaser,
the purchaser.
yes.
Were they?
Tell her Litchfield.
Okay, thank you. And then with what agency are they filing for within the state?
I believe it's the Department of Community Affairs.
Okay. Smart. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Any other public comment? Not seeing any other public comment. Okay, close the public comment portion. And I'll ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting. Motion by Councilman Addison,
Russo, second.
seconded by Councilman Russo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained? All right, thank you.